Before we get into it, let me give a shout out to Tawana Cook for sending this story to me, and this is coming out of Cleveland, Ohio. Now, I believe I talked about this story on my channel before, but like it was a while ago. And the reason why I figured it out is because it was a picture that I saw of this woman that just looks so crazy. When I'm looking at the picture, it looks like she was like trying to be a Miss Cleo wannabe. It looked weird to me, but this is a whole different picture of her. But when I make the thumbnail, you'll see the other picture I was talking about. And you'll be like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. But this woman's name is Judge Pinkey Carr. Yes, that is her name. Pinkey, it says Judge Pinkey Susan Carr. She was, or I don't know if she still is, but she shouldn't be, is a judge out of Cleveland, Ohio. And she was accused of 100+ misconduct counts as a judge. And guess what she blamed it on? Menopause and sleep apnea. So menopause and sleep apnea cause you to have all these counts of misconduct. Are you kidding me? That was the best excuse you came up with? That probably would work if it was maybe a couple, but 100? Let's get into it. A Cleveland judge is accused of more than 100 serious incidents of misconduct, and her team went before the Ohio Supreme Court Tuesday morning. Her defense for her misbehavior? Menopause and sleep apnea cause a generalized anxiety disorder. Cleveland Municipal Court Judge Pinkey Susan Carr is accused of these incidents from the end of 2017 to 2020. So you're talking about roughly about 2.5 years, going on 3 years. Most notable among them is her issuing of arrest warrants for defendants who didn't appear for court during the government-issued stay-at-home order during the pandemic, and most of them, I believe, was black. And I think that's what really escalated this thing. She also allegedly jailed defendants without suitable reason, according to a 58-page report filed with the Supreme Court of Ohio by the Board of Professional Conduct. There is no question that the conduct engaged in by Judge Pinkey Carr was egregious, and it lasted for a period of approximately 2 years, Cleveland attorney Nicholas Froning said. It may seem Froning is arguing on behalf of the Office of Disciplinary Counsel in his case against Carr, but you would be wrong. She has admitted to many of her wrongdoing, so the argument is no longer did she commit the allegations, but rather why did she do it. The court has established 3 offices of Disciplinary Counsel, Board of Professional Conduct, and the Lawyers Fund for Client Protection. Each of these has its own role under the disciplinary system for the Supreme Court of Ohio and the Ohio judicial system. The Disciplinary Counsel investigates allegations and initiates complaints concerning ethical misconduct and or mental illness of judges or attorneys. Carr is accused of dozens of instances of misconduct over 2 years that fall into 5 broad categories and counts: issuance capiases and false statements, ex parte communications, improper plea bargaining, arbitrary dispositions, improper use of capiases and bond to compel payment of fines and court costs, public confidence, lack of decorum and dignity consistent with the judicial office, and abuse of contempt, power, and failure to recuse. The main argument that Froning made was that the board didn't follow the law in the application of the contribution standard. The lawyer argued that the wording of the board analysis, citing that the board didn't apply the legal standard required in determining if Judge Carr's disorders contributed to the cause misconduct. The board used words such as attribution or causal link. Causation defined as expresses or implies a cause, Froning said, explaining the difference of the justices when one acts it's a cause and effect relationship, whereas a contribution contribute to define as tending to bring a result. The back and forth continued between the court and the attorney on the rhetoric. It's written with determination that the disorders contributed to the cause the misconduct, he said, and in it is in the panel report. In its 58-page report, the panel discusses attribute, discusses a causal link, but does not utilize the word contribution in its analysis. After the 4th question, trying to figure out why contribution isn't a subset of causation, the justices seem frustrated. For clarity, the disorders Froning is referring to are menopause and sleep apnea. How did this contribution cause 5 people to spend 28 days in jail? Asked Patrick Fisher, one of the court justices. The issue here is that her treaters were essentially mistreating the conditions, causing there to be counteracting issues. So when it comes to sleep apnea, she wasn't able to get the sleep necessary. When it comes to menopause, she was dealing with issues wherein she wasn't able to function 100%. Fisher didn't seem to buy it. How long does sleep apnea or menopause contribute to lying, he asked. Well, it affects her mood, it affects her ability to think, Froning said. Clearly, it affected numerous areas of her life. Everyone reacts differently. One of the arguments of the panel and the board is that thousands of lawyers have suffered from sleep apnea and or menopause and not engaged in misconduct. I would agree with that. The issue is that everyone reacts differently if we think about it. She was already being treated at this point, so Carr misled her lawyer, her character witnesses, and her therapist to make her misconduct appear less serious. Fisher said it was considered with her lies to the judge and the media earlier on. These lies to the lawyer and therapist demonstrated disturbing dishonesty that pervades response behavior. In this case, he added while reading from the board's report. Connect, please, the sleep apnea or menopause to those actions, Fisher said, digging his heels in. Is there expert in this matter that shared those disorders contributed to cause misconduct, Froning said. The rule calls for a qualified healthcare professional to make these opinions, and this expert, Dr. Jason R. Reeb, PsyD, was given great credibility by the panel and board, he claimed. The reality of it is that while the board treated Dr. Reeb with the respect that he deserved, they completely eviscerated his credibility based upon several factors, said Joseph Caligari, the attorney representing the Office of Disciplinary Counsel. There was a pervasive pattern of dishonesty in this case. The board found that his opinions were of limited utility in this particular case. There was a conflict of interest because of the dual roles the psychologist undertook in his case. He started out as an objective forensic psychologist who was there to give advice and testimony. Within a month of authoring his report, he transitioned to be Carr's treating clinician, in which he was obligated to do his client no harm, the attorney added. And there's like a whole bunch more to it. And like I said, this is a very lengthy article. So what I'll probably do is I'll leave the rest of it down below, because I don't want to keep reading on and on. Y'all pretty much get the gist of it. The point of the matter is, if she was having all of this stuff going on, she should have recused herself from the cases until she got everything in order. And the fact that she tried to use sleep apnea and menopause as an excuse for why she has all these misconducts, no one's buying it. Nobody. But yeah, I remember this story now. I remember it now. It's just that this article is going way, way, way more in depth to it. But simply put, this woman is not fit to be in the position that she's in. Point blank, period. Like I said, if she had all of that going on and she knew that, then she shouldn't have been up there presiding over anybody. Because she put a lot of people in the positions that they didn't have to be in and didn't deserve to be in. But because she had stuff going on internally, here's what we are. And it's almost like they're trying to make an excuse for her actions. There is no excuse, because like I said, she could have easily removed herself from the situation, but she didn't. And she knew she had some conditions going on internally, but she decided to stay on anyway. I guess in a way, in her head, she was going to try to use this as an excuse, but I'm glad that nobody's really falling for it, because like they said, how long does sleep apnea last? Or how long does menopause last? Because for you to have 100+ misconduct counts, yeah. And then because other people have it too, it's not like it's exclusive to her. She's not the only one that has menopause. She's not the only one with sleep apnea. It's not exclusive to her. If that was the case, then maybe, yeah, they could go with that. But menopause and sleep apnea has been around for eons, way longer than she's been alive, and will be here long after she's gone. So yeah, whatever punishment she gets will be rightly deserved.